so, after changing our frock and washing our hands properly, we see that the puzzle of cross-contamination will be solved. Darn.
Bob, what in the world are you trying to do?
I'm putting together a video to explain cross-contamination to our employees, Anna, so they understand the importance of our procedures.
Okay, but how does that fit in?
Well, cross-contamination is a pretty complex subject, Anna, and a lot of employees find it kind of puzzling. You see, there are so many possible cross-contaminants.
Oh, I agree, and each one affects another and another and so on. Oh, I get it. Cross-contamination is kind of like that puzzle, where each color element affects another and another and so on.
Right. So I thought showing how to line up the colors on this cube was a clever way to illustrate how we keep the many possible cross-contaminants in line, so to speak, and separate from each other.
But you can't get the colors to line up, can you?
Maybe I should just ask you to help me explain cross-contamination.
Me? On television? I don't know. But I guess I could help you explain the cross-contamination puzzle and the steps we take to prevent contamination. But I can't help you with that thing. But you know, I know somebody who can. I met this really nice young man, Michael, during our HACCP training, and he's a marvel at solving puzzles. And you know what? He's just starting his break.
Great idea. Let's go and see him. With you and Michael as co-stars, this video will be great. Come on.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Let me guess. Another one of your training programs, eh, Bob?
Well, we're trying to put all the pieces of the cross-contamination puzzle together, Michael, and I thought using this cube would be a good way to demonstrate.
These things are child's play. However, solving the cross-contamination puzzle is a bit more complicated. The secret to that puzzle is prevention. In fact, that's what I'm doing in receiving today. Inspecting raw goods to check that foreign material hasn't contaminated the products.
Such as?
We look for things like broken cartons or splinters from pallets or crates that could get into the food. We also check to make sure that the food is free of dirt and pests like insects or any foreign materials such as metals or glass.
Or stones, leaves, and stems.
That's right, Anna. Actually, the real first step in preventing cross-contamination is us, the people handling and processing the food. We're always looking for any signs of contamination. It isn't difficult or puzzling, though. You simply have to pay attention and use your common sense.
Yes, Michael. We stay alert, pay attention, and use our common sense. Plus, we have mechanical help. There's magnets, metal detectors, and x-rays. All help us make sure our food doesn't have any foreign objects that could hurt someone.
Well, we follow some pretty strict work rules, too. Rules designed to keep the food from being contaminated by us.
Like what?
Our dress rules, for example, and no candy or gum around the food.
No jewelry, watches, or pens in exposed pockets.
Right. Also, we make sure that during production, no paper or packaging material gets mixed in with the food.
I can see that prevention is the secret to solving this puzzle, and we do that by following some simple rules. Well, thanks. I guess cross-contamination isn't all that complicated. Thanks.
Well, it may not be all that complicated, but it is important. For example, checking ingredients to prevent cross-contamination might seem simple, but if we were to put the wrong ingredients or pre-seasoned food into the wrong batch, it could make a customer extremely ill. And like that cube thing, there are many other elements to line up.
Good point. What are some of the other important pieces in solving the cross-contamination puzzle?
Well, for one thing, there's always the possibility of bacterial contamination as we go from raw to cooked areas. Now, just suppose I were to stroll from receiving over to the finished product area without removing my PPE, personal protective equipment, or rewashing my hands, and then not to use the foot bath at the hand dip station. I could easily be a source of cross-contamination. Bacteria could hitchhike on my boots, clothes, hair, or hands and end up in the processed food.
We also have to be careful not to touch our skin, adjust our hair or clothes after washing our hands and putting on our PPE, because if we do, it's scrub-up time again.
Oh, I'd hate to think that I could be a source of contamination.
But we have to think about it, Bob.
See, bacteria grows very quickly, and we want to prevent the conditions that allow it to grow. And bacteria grows not only on us, but on the equipment as well.
Well, that's why we wash and sanitize equipment regularly, right?
Right, but even doing that cleaning isn't as simple as it looks. The fact is, even cleaning equipment holds the risk of cross-contamination.
How so?
Well, when we do a washdown, we also hose down the floor. But we've got to be careful not to let the floor spray reach the clean equipment because bacteria from the floor mist can land on the clean equipment.
I'm always looking for ways to prevent cross-contamination, like if I see paint flaking or equipment rusting. I always let my supervisor know so action can be taken to prevent contamination.
Good point, Anna. Equipment is a real potential source for cross-contamination. Now, solving the cross-contamination puzzle isn't as difficult if you only have one type of food to produce during your shift. But if you have different foods or ingredients, that adds another whole different piece to the puzzle.
I know what you mean, Michael. During production changes, the risk of cross-contamination increases. For example, during ingredients and seasoning changes, the risk of allergen contamination becomes high. So that's why between ingredient changes, we must do a complete washdown and we may sanitize the equipment as well.
However, I'll have to say that for the most part, solving the cross-contamination puzzle just takes a little common sense. Like the other day, Bob, when, well, I won't say who, but one of the workers in the smokehouse wanted to cool off and propped open an outside door.
But another serious source of possible cross-contamination are the chemicals we use, the pesticides we use to eliminate pests. If those chemicals wound up in the food we produce, people could become very sick. So it's critical that those chemicals are stored and used properly. And if you see an unlabeled chemical, don't use it. Check with a supervisor.
The same rules apply to sanitizers and things like paint and lubricants. If they got into the food, people could become ill.
We have to be just as careful with our cleaning and maintenance products and make sure that they are stored properly. We don't want our good intentions to create a hazard and contaminate the food. Safe storage of those items and proper cleaning after use must be done to prevent contamination.
Looks like we've solved the cross-contamination prevention puzzle. We prevent cross-contamination through visual inspections throughout the production process.
Metal detectors, magnets, and sometimes even x-rays to identify foreign objects.
Care when cleaning equipment, followed up by microbiological testing.
We wear the proper PPE, we remove our jewelry and watches, and we don't bring any food into areas where food is processed and stored.
Plus, we maintain good personal hygiene and strictly follow clothing and sanitation procedures when going from raw to cooked areas.
Listening to you, I'm certainly convinced that the most important piece of the cross-contamination puzzle is prevention. And I think you two are the real secret.
We are?
Absolutely. Two trained and alert employees who understand the importance of food safety and take it seriously.
I couldn't have said that better myself, Bob.
Me neither.
But you know, I think you have solved the cross-contamination puzzle. And like Michael said, the secret is prevention and using good old-fashioned common sense. And my common sense tells me it's time to give up this glamorous television career and get back to the real world. Work.
Me too.
Stop.
What?
I still can't do it.
Do what?
Solve this thing.
Here, let me show you. Like I said, that is child's play.